Hello, I'm Joyce Woodworth. Welcome to the Spirit of Winona. Today we're back in Karen Mulger's kitchen. Karen is the great cook who cooked the holiday cookies for us a couple years ago, and today she's going to share her traditional turkey recipes for Thanksgiving with us. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Joyce.
Well, Karen, tell me what you have in store for us today. What are we going to fix?
Well, when you said traditional, I wouldn't necessarily say it's traditional because I only came upon this recipe last year when I was visiting my sister out in California. And I said, we have to try this, wine country, and she's a real wine person, and this turkey is called Chardonnay turkey, and it's just a gotta have as far as I'm concerned. It makes a wonderful sauce, and it when you're all finished, the turkey is the most beautiful caramel color. It looks like it come off a magazine, so I'm real anxious to have the people try it. Another thing that is not traditional that we tried last year that I just love is we're going to be marbling some mashed potatoes with some yams. Now, I would never eat yams. I just don't care for sweet potatoes or yams and alone. But when they're marbled with the mashed potatoes with the gravy from this Chardonnay turkey, it's absolutely a gotta have. I'm going to do something a little different. I don't stuff my turkeys with stuffing because for a large group you can't possibly get enough stuffing in a turkey. So I typically make my stuffing separately. But it's what I do with it that's a little different. And then for a fruit, we're just going to have some whipped cream over fresh fruit.
Oh, you're making me so hungry. How are we going to end the day?
And with a dessert, everybody has to have pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving, but not everyone likes to make pumpkin pie crust. So I have an easy pumpkin pie recipe that doesn't require a roll-out crust. That's just a la easy.
Okay. Well, now I know that this sounds like an awful lot of work, but I know you're going to make it look easy. So let's get started with the turkey.
Okay. First of all, we wash the turkey really well, and I like to leave the neck of the turkey inside because anything that you can use for broth is wonderful. So leave that inside. I'm going to leave this on too so it stays together. This I know is oven safe, this little hold together thing here. And we're going to start by you take these vegetables and randomly lay them on the bottom of the pan. And the reason for that is these vegetables have two purposes. They're going to serve as a rack to set the turkey on, and all of the wonderful flavors is going to contribute to the stock.
All right, so you've got everything cut and clean. We've got celery, carrots, onion, and potatoes.
I'm going to take the turkey and set it up right here, and I'm going to just put some salt, about 2 teaspoons approximately, into the cavity. As Emerald would say, I don't know where you get your turkey, but my turkey doesn't come seasoned. So they don't
Is that all you put in it is just salt?
Right. Now, some people may choose to have seasonal salt. The reason I'm just using plain salt is a lot of people are allergic to if it contains MSG or things.
So this is perfect. You've got everything kind of at the same level, and it's just the potatoes, carrots, and onions.
And that is going to be the wrap for your turkey. So if you'd like to set the turkey on top of there.
The ingredients for Karen's Chardonnay turkey are 4 carrots, 4 stalks of celery, 1 large onion, and 4 medium potatoes, 1 pound of melted butter, 2 teaspoons salt, 1 bottle of Chardonnay, 1½ quarts of chicken broth, and 1/4 cup of sugar.
Okay, now that we have the turkey on top of the vegetables as a rack, we are going to add the secret ingredient. First, we've melted a pound of butter. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but this is a holiday. We're forgetting fat.
Okay, baby.
Okay, now, I have a 12-pound turkey here. If you're going to use a 20-pound turkey, you'll want a full pound of butter. If you want to cut that amount in half with a 12-pound turkey, that's fine, too.
Okay.
But we have melted our butter here. And what we're going to do with the melted butter now is I'm going to have you ladle that.
Oh, just straight melted
straight
butter.
Melted butter. Ladle it over
here.
top of the turkey.
You're going to do the whole pound on top of this
turkey?
turkey?
No, you're only going to ladle part of it up there because the rest of it is going to be in the sauce.
Okay. Now, generally, I thought like when you use butter in the oven, it'll burn. Is that not a problem?
We're not going. We're going to be basting this every 20 minutes.
Okay.
And it won't be a problem because it's going to be mixed with other things.
Okay, so we put about maybe 5-6 scoops
just
of
so
butter
it's nice and saturated. That's wonderful.
Looks good.
It's time for the secret ingredient, and if you need to sneak a sip, now's the time to do it.
I'll save it for later.
Okay. Add the whole bottle into the kettle with the butter.
Oh, you put it in with the butter, with the leftover butter, and the whole bottle.
The whole bottle.
Goes in. Oh,
the whole bottle.
This is going to make a wonderful sauce.
Oh, it's just so unbelievable. I just hope people try this.
You really have to use Chardonnay, I imagine, because of the drier taste.
I have only ever used Chardonnay, but experiment. That's
Sure.
what I do with all my recipes. And then I just know the taste that I'm looking for, and the taste that I am looking for here, the Chardonnay has done it.
Okay.
Whenever I use any vinegary or that type of taste, I always put a little sugar into it. Just, I don't know what it does, but it kind of cuts that sharpness. So to this we're going to have quite a bit of sauce here. So we have here approximately 3 tablespoons of sugar. If you'd like to put that in there and stir.
Sounds good. I know this has got to be a really good tip because Karen comes up with some great tips. I've tasted a lot of her recipes and they're always excellent.
And to that I'm going to add, I have a quart and a half of chicken stock here.
Okay, and is this just canned stock?
You
or
can
something
buy
you
canned
prepared?
stock if you have the powder. I happen to have the powder and I mixed my own. Your favorite chicken stock. Now if you were to taste this now you'd go, ew. So it's not a good time to taste.
Okay.
Now here's the real secret. You've nicely buttered the top of the turkey. We have here 3 layers of cheesecloth. And what we're going to do with this cheesecloth is lay it over the turkey like so.
Oh, covering
Covering
giving
the
it a
turkey.
blanket.
Every 20 minutes you're going to be ladling more brown.
Okay, just to really saturate this
Right,
cheesecloth.
really saturate.
Okay, I imagine you could just pick this up and
Yep,
pour
you
it
want
on
to do
as
that?
well.
If you end up running out of the sauce, you just start basting from the pan itself. And you slip it into a 350-degree oven. Set your timer for every 20 minutes, and every 20 minutes you'll come and you'll saturate this again.
Okay, so this will take about 4.5 hours.
4.5 hours for about a 15 to 20 pound turkey.
Okay,
So
well,
if your
let's
turkey is
put
smaller,
it in
you
the
can-
oven.
The ingredients for Karen's yam and potato dish are 2 large baked yams, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of butter, 8 potatoes with 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of butter, and 1/2 cup of milk.
Now we're ready for your marbleized potatoes, and it looks like you've already prepared your potatoes and you prepared your yams. Tell us, are there any little tricks that you did in preparing your potatoes and yams?
Well, actually, no. The regular potatoes I just peeled, cubed, and boiled. And after they were done, I drained them and put a little salt and butter and milk in them and mashed them just like you would regular mashed potatoes. The yams, I found out, I said, what's the difference between yams and sweet potatoes? Well, apparently, yams are a little more, to some people's liking, more flavorful and a little more colorful. Marbleized in the mashed potatoes, they're wonderful. I can't begin to tell you. So I'm excited for people to try this. And when you put the gravy from the Chardonnay turkey over, it's just absolutely wonderful. What I did with the yams is I had 2 good-sized yams. I baked them. I just washed them, put them in the oven. I didn't cover them with anything. And you bake them like you would a baked potato.
And you leave the skin on?
Leave the skin on.
Okay.
And after it was all finished, take it out, let them cool a little bit, and that skin comes off very easily. And I put them in a bowl then with a little salt and a little butter again, probably about 2 tablespoons for the 2 good-sized yams I had, and I mashed them. And that's it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add the sweet potatoes to the regular potatoes and just fold them so that they aren't totally mixed together, but they're marbleized. So would you like to do that?
No, I'll watch you.
Okay.
By all means. You know,
All
now
right.
I cook yams a lot because yams are very, very good for you. They have a lot of iron and a lot of good nutrients. And I'll cook them whole and bake them. And then a lot of times I just stick them in the refrigerator and slice them and then fry them. Sliced. And they are so good.
I also tried this with squash. It's wonderful. Now, I love squash. And so you mix your squash with your potatoes, and it's just wonderful. So
Wow, this is really a different dish. And
Isn't
it's
this
perfect
different?
for Thanksgiving.
perfect.
And do you always use these type of potatoes?
I
when you
like a
do
potato
mash?
that doesn't turn real sticky.
Yeah,
You know,
the
I
red
like
ones turn sticky
right.
when you
More
mash
of a
them.
drier potato. So there. Truly, this is a gotta try because you could have never convinced me that mixing mashed or sweet potatoes with or yams with mashed potatoes could be as good as this really is. So I'm excited for people to try this.
It is beautiful. I really do have to taste these before we go, just to see. what they're like. They are different.
Isn't it wonderful?
And they are wonderful.
Just wonderful.
There's just a little hint of sweet.
But yet they're very potato-y, right? So you would want to put gravy on these. And
Or you
try
could
it.
eat them just like that.
Right. And another, if you have leftovers, and I always try to cook to have a few leftovers, one of the things I do with this that's just really, really tasty is make like a potato patty. It's not a pancake because these are a little thicker. And what I do is with the leftover mashed potatoes, to it I would add 1 egg, and probably, well, depending on how many potatoes you have left over, a little flour. And you're going to want the flour to keep it together. So a little egg and a little flour. And then at this point, if you want a little more seasoning, I would put a little more seasoning in. And make them into a ball and put them in a pan with some butter, of course, and flatten them out a little bit and fry them till they're crispy. And you have to fry them slow because in this case, the butter would burn. So if you want to put a little butter and a little oil mix, that might help. But make them into a ball, into a patty, fry them, and that's the best way to have these leftover with some gravy on them again.
The ingredients for Karen's stuffing are 1½ pounds of croutons, 1 pound ground turkey breast, 1/2 cup chopped onion, 1 cup diced celery, 5 cups chicken broth, 1 tablespoon dried parsley, 1 teaspoon of sage, 2 teaspoons salt, and 1 teaspoon pepper.
Now Karen has prepared her stuffing ahead of time, and she's going to tell us what exactly she put into it, and then show us a little trick of how she bakes it ahead of time.
Well, like I said, I don't like to stuff the turkey because you can't get enough stuffing in a turkey anyway for the large family. So I like to make it ahead of time. It's one of them make ahead the day before. It's the best because then the flavors really get to blend. And so what I did is I took a large bowl and I put some croutons in. Then on the stove I took a pound of ground turkey breast. Now typically my grandma always put seasoned pork sausage in, but I have a Jewish friend and I keep her in mind if I'm ever going to be cooking. You gotta, they don't use pork, so I thought I'm going to try it with the turkey breast. And besides which, if you're counting calories, it's a lot healthier. You can get ground turkey, which that's a whole different flavor because it's dark meat. But if you specifically get the ground turkey breast, it's a real mild flavor, and I think it turned out really delicious. So on the stove, I sauteed a pound of the ground turkey breast, and I pureed an onion, because a lot of people don't care for onion, but you got to have onion in stuffing. So I find my family eats more onion than they think they do. and how I do that is I really pureed in a food processor. And I mixed that with the turkey as it was frying, and I used a cup of the sliced celery also. And I think celery is a big key in stuffing. And I saute that together. When that's all cooked, I add it to the croutons, along with some salt and pepper and some sage. And I put a little dried parsley in there just for a little color. I think I used about 5 cups of chicken broth to moisten my breadcrumbs. Now, that can vary too. If you like a little drier stuffing, then cut it down to a little less. If you like a little more of a moist stuffing, then add more. So you got to kind of play with it. And what I like to do is use an ice cream scoop, as you can see, and make it into individual servings. And that's just something I just do for fun, and it works. And people go, oh, it's already cooked, so you really only need to warm it through. And if you like to get it a little crusty on top, I would put it in a 350-degree oven for about 30 to 45 minutes.
Well, it sounds like another time to baste the turkey.
Well, actually now we're down to where we're between 30 to 45 minutes before the turkey is finished. So we're going to remove it from the oven, take the cheesecloth off, give it another good basting, and put it back in, and every 15 minutes we're going to baste it till we've reached the desired caramelized look. And it'll have a nice coating shell on it, and everything underneath, the meat underneath is going to be so juicy because the juices are now all locked in. And it's just going to have a beautiful caramel color.
Ooh, and I can't tell you how wonderful this smells. Well, let's take it out and see how it looks. Looks interesting. The juices and everything are just marinating and smell so delicious. Now, how do you generally take this off? You just lift it with a fork?
It'll be hot, so carefully take it off with a fork.
Oh, it just like really comes off
Yes.
quite easy. I'm amazed. I would have thought it would
That's
have
all
just
that butter.
really been. Oh, sure. I thought it would really stick on. Oh, wow. It looks gorgeous.
At this point now, we'll take our ladle here, and actually, we can use the juices that are already in there if you like,
Sure. Uh-huh.
and just baste it some more. We'll set our timer for every 15 minutes.
Okay.
And we'll take the juices and baste over the top until we've reached the desired caramelized look that we want.
Okay, and it smells incredible.
The ingredients for Karen's fruit salad are mandarin oranges and pineapple, diced apples, grapes, and 1.5 cups of Cool Whip.
Now, I know a Thanksgiving dinner would not be a real Thanksgiving feast without a fruit salad.
That's true, and my family likes just plain fruit. They don't like a lot of the saucies that go along with it. We just like the fruit with a little whipped cream on. Today I just happened to choose mandarin oranges. I have some pineapple, some grapes, and these are just huge grapes. They had to be seeded,
Beautiful.
so I took the seeds out, but oh, they're so flavorful. And then I have some fresh apple. So
Now, you have a little trick for apples. Tell us about that.
I prepared my apples ahead of time, and then, you know, if you let apples set too long, that they'll turn brown. So I diced these apples several hours ago, and I poured some 7-Up on them. It's enough acidity to keep the apples from turning brown.
Do you drain your apples from the 7-Up?
Yeah, you wouldn't want that 7-Up. You
Okay.
can just drain them right into this colander here.
Sure.
And go ahead.
Okay.
And for this amount of fruit, I had about 1.5 cups of Cool Whip, if you want to just scoop that into that and fold it.
Do you use any particular apples? This looks like a Honeycrisp.
It's not a Honeycrisp, it's a new apple called a Holiday. And it's really,
Never
really...
heard of it.
Yeah,
Smells
you should try one.
wonderful.
And it's a kind of a crispy sweet. So, you know, some people prefer tart. That would be fine. Delicious apple would be really good. Anything that's really nice and crisp.
You can taste that 7-Up just a little bit
Just
in that
good.
apple. Yeah,
Good.
it's good. Nice touch. Beautiful
And
salad.
so this just...
Okay, and you just use like a, what is this?
The
about
whole thing, I measured out about 1.5 cups.
Oh, okay. Beautiful.
And once you've folded it, I like to ladle it into some nice dessert dishes.
What a lovely idea. So everyone gets their own serving in one of these pretty dishes.
You know, it's a holiday. It's something fancy, so you break out the fancies and do what you can with them.
Ooh, time for the turkey.
Oh, great. It's
Okay.
been approximately, because I had a 12-pound turkey, it's been approximately 3.5 hours.
Okay.
So, and it
Oh,
looks
it looks
beautiful.
divine. Yes, it does.
Oh, look at that beautiful caramel color.
Oh, it is a beautiful
Isn't
color.
that picturesque?
Oh, yes. This is always kind of a trick, trying to get it out of the pan.
Right.
Oh,
Isn't
it is
beautiful?
gorgeous. Just gorgeous.
And here you have all this wonderful vegetables now, and some people may choose to eat these too. What I would do is I would puree them, and I'd add them to a squash that I had pureed and made a wonderful squash soup.
Oh, wow. That's
Delicious.
another recipe, it sounds like.
That's another show.
This is where I fail, is making the gravy from this point to gravy on the table. And I know you've got some good ideas for that.
Well, it's really quite a simple process, but it's amazing. A lot of people don't know how to make gravy. So I never have any problems. So we'll go through it step by step, and hopefully you'll pick up some tips. At this point, after we get it strained, some people may want to choose to taste it for seasoning, proper seasoning.
Oh,
Perfect.
it's
huh?
incredible. With that Chardonnay.
So you
just
wouldn't
a
touch it?
Great flavor.
No more?
I wouldn't. I don't think.
Okay, great. So that's what we need to do at this point.
It really
So
is good.
We need to bring it to a boil. Here I have it's about 1/2 cup of flour and some water. I'm going to just put the two together and whisk it good to get the lumps out. I guess I love these little whisks because they really do
Get
speed
the
the
lumps
process
out.
up
Yeah.
a little more, and it does get the lumps out. Here's where the trick is and why most people have difficulty. I go by looking. Now that looks to me like I've probably got enough in there for the amount of juice that I have. And after it's boiled, if it's still not thick enough, you can still put some in.
Okay.
Or if you think that you've got maybe a little too thick, add a little water. Or potato water, too, is always a good add. It takes a lot less cornstarch than it does flour. There, this looks perfect.
All right. I have to taste that one.
It's pretty hot. Be careful.
Oh, it's fabulous.
perfect.
A little bit of sweet, little bit of Chardonnay flavor.
But a lot of turkey
Yeah,
flavor.
it's excellent. Just excellent.
So, that is gravy. And if there's a few lumps in there, you can still get your strainer out. And some people think that it isn't a true gravy without a few lumps, but my family would complain. So, if I have a few lumps in there, I would strain it into the bowl also.
Okay.
So,
Well, let's try it and put it on the table with the turkey and have a feast.
have a feast.
I have been looking at these delicious rolls all day, sitting over there in the corner, and Karen has such an easy recipe for these rolls.
For sure. They taste just like homemade, and better than homemade because you don't have to go through all the work. And I make these for every occasion, for every day, anytime I have company, because they are so easy, and they do taste like homemade. All you need to do is go to the grocery store and to the frozen food section. You can buy the already made, they're frozen, they're already made into little balls. And I just take my favorite is to make them in a stone because you can leave them in there and they don't get all soggy like they would in aluminum.
Oh, okay.
The stone kind of absorbs the moisture. So I just spray the stone good with a Pam or something and lay the little balls into them and cover them with a piece of saran and let them raise. And that varies too. Sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I'll stick them in a warm oven, or if I don't want to hurry them along too much, I just let them set on the counter. And when they've raised to about this consistency, you pop them in the oven and bake them. Wouldn't our grandmothers be jealous?
I'll tell you, life is so much easier.
Life is so much easier.
Now we're ready for Karen's easy pumpkin pie squares.
This is a recipe that's for all the cooks that wouldn't think of making a pie crust, and I am a cook that wouldn't think of buying a pie crust. So this is the happy medium. We're going to have a pumpkin pie that has just a little different variation of the crust. And this is especially nice for a large crowd because it's made in a large jelly roll pan. We're going to be using my second favorite kitchen gadget is the food processor. I have 3 sizes, and I can't believe people that put these on garage sales. I use my food processor for countless things. It's very easy.
We start with the butter?
We'll start with the crust. You want to
And
put
you
the
just
butter?
go with hard butter into your food processor?
Semi-hard. If it's too hard, then it's hard to process it. It just kind of stays in a ball.
Okay.
So I'm just going to kind of break that up for you. And if you want to add the flour, I think it's
How much flour do we have
I think
here?
it's a cup and a half of flour.
Okay. This is so wonderful. You just put it all together and you
A
don't
la
have to
easy.
stir it up.
And in the brown sugar here, we have a half a cup of brown sugar.
Okay, now that you could do this in your KitchenAid processor as well,
Sure.
couldn't you?
And some people would choose to do it by hand. Now we're going to do this much right now.
Okay.
And we'll add the nuts and the oatmeal later because we don't want the oatmeal to be real processed.
That was easy.
Wasn't that easy? You see why I love this machine?
I see.
So at this time, I'm going to have you put the nuts in.
You just add the whole nuts?
The whole nuts.
This is about a cup of pecans?
No, it's a half a cup,
Half
actually.
a cup of pecans.
And we're going to do that. We're going to do the oatmeal last because we don't want that chopped fine. So we'll pulse this for a little bit.
Ooh, I love this processor. What
Isn't that
kind
neat?
is it?
Oh, I've had this one for years. What is it? A Hamilton Beach?
Beach?
There's many,
Okay.
many out there. Go ahead, put the
All right.
oatmeal in, and then we'll just need to touch ever so lightly just to blend it. You don't need to grease the pan or
Okay.
spray the pan because there's enough oil in here. And if you'd like to spread out and pat it down, do you want to do that?
Sure. You do that with your
With your hands, right.
This is kind of like plain.
Then you want to go along and just lightly pat it so it stays into place. And there's your a la easy crust. So you didn't have to roll it with a rolling pin,
Oh,
and
it's perfect.
It tastes wonderful.
The ingredients for Karen's pumpkin pie crust are 2/3 cup butter, 1 1/4 cup flour, 3/4 cups quick oatmeal, 1/2 cup brown sugar, and 1/2 cup nuts.
Now you would put this in the oven for 15 minutes
Okay.
to kind of set it. And then after 15 minutes, take it out, and by that time we will have our pumpkin pie filling.
The ingredients for the top of Karen's pumpkin pie squares are 1 large can of pumpkin, 4 eggs, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon ginger, 1/2 teaspoon nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoon salt, and 2 cans of sweetened condensed milk.
Karen, I think we're ready for the next can of evaporated milk.
Actually, Joyce,
Yeah?
because we started out with that Chardonnay turkey, I think we sniffed too much wine.
Not me.
Actually, the recipe, if you're going to have some sweetness to it and you're not intending to add sugar, you can use a sweetened condensed milk. So let's try the sweetened condensed milk, and then we'll get our sweetness there, and we won't be putting any sugar in. How's
Okay,
that?
sounds good to
I
me.
just happen to have some here.
All right. Okay, so we have to know now the recipe calls for
Either sweeten, if you want it
sweet
sweetened,
condensed instead of evaporated, right?
Unless you want to use brown sugar, add your own sugar for the. You would add brown sugar if you're going to use all of the evaporated.
Okay. This is quite different.
That's
It's
right.
very gooey
It's
and
sweetened.
sweetened.
Right.
So this is what you put in the pumpkin pie recipe, not the evaporated, correct?
Right, unless you want to add sugar.
Yeah, pumpkin without sugar probably is not
Wouldn't be
real
good. Right.
Okay. Well, I know Thanksgiving dinner wouldn't be quite right without a pumpkin pie.
Put it in a 350-degree oven, and it bakes for about 30 to 35 minutes.
Oh, Karen, this is a fabulous feast that you've prepared.
Pretty inviting, doesn't it?
Oh, it looks so beautiful. Your family's just going to be so pleased.
I hope so.
Oh, they are. Your turkey is wonderful. Your mashed potatoes, the marbled mashed potatoes with the yams. And I love the way you did your dressing. The gravy is just perfect. You've got a little bit of cranberries, and I love the carrots and peas with the dinner.
For a little color.
Yeah, beautiful for color. Your fruit salad, your rolls, those were certainly very easy.
Very easy.
And of course, your pumpkin pie dessert looks absolutely beautiful too. Well, tell me about your Thanksgiving. Now, what goes on in your house at Thanksgiving time?
So you just seen all that we went through and all the fun, and you enjoy cooking. And of course, the men in my family are out doing their fun thing too. Every year they're out deer hunting. So they come in, we usually eat late afternoon. So they come in tired and really hungry after I've worked all day with this beautiful meal. They sit down, and they do enjoy it. I'm not saying they don't enjoy it, but when it's all over, that's it. They've been cleaned and fed, and now they're ready to crash. So I look at everything, and it's cleanup time. Thank you, Madam Pilgrims.
Well, Thanksgiving around here in Minnesota is generally conducive with deer hunting.
Right.
Yeah, so we have to kind of put up with that.
But I'm getting smart. These last couple of years, I usually find somewhere else to be. Last year, I was lucky enough to go to California and spent Thanksgiving there and cooked with my sister.
Fun.
And this year, I'll be in Florida with my daughter for the band, they're going to be playing in Walt Disney World. So my friend and I are going to be making Thanksgiving dinner in a nice condominium. So,
sounds great.
So the deer hunters are kind of solo this year, again.
Well, as easy as you made this look, I think you probably could do it in the condominium.
I think we're planning on it.
Okay. Well, have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and you also have a great Thanksgiving. Use some of these wonderful recipes. Until next week, enjoy the Spirit of Winona.